7 o'clock, so we're ready to hold our September the 21st council meeting. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight here. As usual, we will start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Then we have a roll call.
Councilmember Lewis? Present. Councilmember Carlson?
Here.
Councilmember McKeithen? Vice Mayor Whitmer?
Here.
Mayor Dobby?
Here. Before we start, I have one item that came in too late to add to the agenda, and I think most of you have copies of it, but I'll read it to you. It says that there is a need to take immediate action to reject all bids for the invitation to provide equipment and installation of the VoIP system to the September 21st council meeting, and that the need for action came to the attention of staff subsequent to the agenda being posted and too late to meet the 72-hour posting requirement. So I think I need a motion to put it on the agenda.
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Mayor.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So should we discuss that?
What's your pleasure?
Because of the,
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's have the presentations first of all. The introduction of David Gomez. Please.
Mayor and members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that I get to do as the police chief and the appointing authority is to hire people. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce David Gomez. Come on up, David. David is our newest police officer. He was sworn in last month in our office. Mayor Dobby was there. About half the department, a lot of well-wishers, and so it was really a really good day for David and for the department. I think it's going to be an asset to the community. A little bit about David. He grew up in Portland, Northwest, in the city of Longview, near Portland, Oregon. He graduated with distinction from Robert Long High School. He lettered all 4 years in both baseball and football, which is pretty significant. After high school, Officer Gomez attended Lower Columbia College on a baseball scholarship and studied administration of justice. David is on track to complete his bachelor's degree in criminal justice in April 2012. Officer Gomez is a 2009 graduate of the College of San Mateo Regional Police Academy and was hired by the Atherton Police Department as a reserve officer, and we got a chance to watch him in action. Officer Gomez has been married to his lovely wife, Jordan, and they have 2 beautiful daughters, or 3 beautiful daughters, thank you. I have 2 beautiful daughters. I get confused, but I just want to congratulate you again, and I wanted the community, as well as a member of council, to meet David, and we're really proud to have him on board. So.
Next item on the agenda are public comments, and these are for items not on the agenda, and you have 3 minutes to bring them up. So I would ask for the first person who is going to make a comment.
Hey, I'm Lauren Bruner, and a resident of Atherton. And I just wanted to first start by applauding the library committee for taking all the time to have the library meetings. They've been extremely helpful and informative, and I'm glad that the council, agreed to have those take place. In attending those meetings, I felt they did a nice job of showing the pros and cons of the various locations. And I've kind of come away at this point being very concerned about losing our community here, just locally here where the library currently exists. One of the things I'm hearing a lot from the people who live in this area is how much we use the library, how much we walk to the library, we go and take books out of the library, and this neighborhood really does absorb cars when we're having events like the Monday afternoon, events that they have for kids and so on. And I'm concerned about making sure that we are looking at the library in conjunction with the town center. And I understand completely that there's a completely different set of funds for both of those items, but I would like to see us look at the library with that whole picture rather than simply on its own. I've spent many, many years being in and around the park, and one of the things that I find quite often at the park is issues with parking and being able to get in and out quickly to things, because whether there's an event or a baseball game or preschool or all these different things kind of happening at the same point, many times it's hard to find parking. And I just would like to have us really consider the fact that maybe we need to keep that space as park and continue to have our location here as a library. The other thing is, there's quite a few neighbors who voiced concerns about just understanding what would be taking place if the library disappears from this, what's going to take place with that building. Some of the things that, in looking at whether it's a one-story or two-story building or basement, I think we need to explore that further so possibly we could keep a footprint of Granite Park, but also be able to have a multi-story, either down or up building for the library, and maybe that would be a way for us to continue to keep our town center. I'm a little worried about losing that. So I appreciate you considering that. I know that that's not on the agenda tonight, but it will be coming up, and I'd just like everyone to realize that there are people who also would like to see the library stay where it is. Thank you.
Who's next?
Evening, Council, residents. I'm Rosemary Mulder. I live at 90 Lloyden Drive, and I do have some concerns about the library that may be built or remodeled or moved. And I'd like to make a few comments about the size and the location, and especially the timing, because I would reinforce some of the things that she said about the location especially. But the size, I went to the early meetings in the spring and was not convinced on the data that said that we needed a much larger, in fact, a little more than double the size of the current library. And I didn't see that the data they had based on a survey with very low response convinced me of that. The location, I think, needs to be here and should definitely be moved. The committee ought to work with the town center. And I understand that one committee has money and one has just a little money. But I think it's our town's responsibility to figure out a way to deal with that financial issue and have the library located in an area where people can come once to do a variety of errands as they can now, and I think that makes a great deal of sense. And in terms of Holbert Palmer Park, it's our only public open space, that which is around the main house, and I think it functions well as a place to either exercise or have peace and quiet, or the main house works as a social center, as a place to socialize, a place to have meetings, small or large, or entertainment gatherings. But the timing is the other thing, I think, that's important. I think the last thing we need in a town that says that they're really short of money and we have to let go 12 loyal staff people who've worked for the town a long time. And we now have people who are either acting or interim, or we outsource the jobs or we cut some, and then have them have to do the town job of some oversight. I mean, there wouldn't be the contractors, but it will be a public town issue, and they will have to take staff time to do that. And I think that they're already spread very thin. I called last week. 1 out of 5 calls got returned. I've been here 35 years. That's a first. I have not had that problem before. People always return their calls even within a day or so, reasonable amount of time. So I think that plus the image, we're really short of money, and then people don't come and find out which budget do you have and which budget does the other group have. I mean, they'll just see big buildings going up and we just let people go. I think it's bad timing. Oh, good. Thank you.
Okay, who's next?
Hi, I'm Julie Quinlan. I would like to say that I agree very much with what Lauren had to say and Rosemary had to say. I won't repeat it because I know that adds time to your evening. A couple of additional things. I want to say thank you very much to the people who have done all the work leading up to the meeting that I went to a couple of weeks ago in the park. I very much regret that I have not been able to do much with it because I'm very involved in some other town issues and it takes up all my time. I've grown up coming to this library and I really value it, and so I really would like to see things done correctly. A couple of points. A takeaway from the Thursday meeting. There was a lot of discussion of the future looking use of libraries as community gathering places. And I think with the talk of the need to have a town center planning and having coordination, it seems to me it makes a lot more sense to the extent that the focus on having the town center in this area would be to try to have it be complementary with the library and its potential as a community gathering place. I spoke with the architect afterwards and was asking, because they were talking about different reasons why this site maybe wouldn't be so good. I said, have you thought about going up? And the main reason she said that they haven't thought about going up and adding a story was because of staff. It wasn't functionality, and I know you can use that money for staff. The other thing that troubles me is I talked to the head of library services for the county. This pot of money can go for all kinds of things. I mean, there is no librarian at the Selby Lane School, from what I understand. And, you know, as much as we would love to see certain kids make it into the library and benefit from it, school, you gotta go. And I think that that's something, I don't, you know, like I said, I regret that I haven't been able to be involved, but I think that really needs to be explored. The other thing that troubles me is that I know that a ballpark is under consideration for the park, a major league style park. Some of the plans I've seen look pretty big. I don't think there's been any traffic studies or other usage studies, which would definitely be cumulative with any of the library planning that's going on. And it's hard for me to understand how you can make a decision on siting the library when that process is beginning. The Planning Commission is going to start, as I understand, they're going to try to hold some public hearings and try to move ahead with getting some definition on how the ballpark might be. So I'll stop now and just say I'm really concerned about making a decision, at least at this point, for siting the library in the park. And I hope that you'll revisit, you know, that it will be more seriously considered leaving it in this area. Thank you.
Good evening, Jim Massey, 7 Lloyd Drive, Atherton, 50-year resident town. This council will soon be facing 2 major land use decisions here in town. The result of these decisions will impact Atherton for years to come. I urge caution. Spend the time to get this right. The first decision will be the siting of the library. The second will be a possible consideration of a new civic center here in town, probably in the parking lots. While the proposed library task force has invested time and resources on its project, the proposed civic center has not. It needs time to do this. These are both critical land use decisions for this town and this community's future. The current timeline appears that on October 5th, the Park and Rec will be asked to make a recommendation to this council to site the library at the park, with a council decision to be taken as early as October 19th. In the meantime, the Civic Center first meeting will be on the 12th of October. That'll be the first time that the citizens of this community have a chance to look at this second land use site. I believe that we're putting the cart before the horse. To make one land use decision before even considering the other is not good policy and should not be done. I would ask this council to postpone the Park and Rec recommendation until after the Civic Center program has been shown and vetted to the community. I would also ask the council to slow down both land use decisions until there can be more exposure to the citizens. And one library project should not drive both decisions. In my mind, to not consider the overall impact of both of these land decisions would be a dereliction of the duty of this council. And I know you won't do it. Thank you.
Bill?
Go ahead. Oh, mine's completely different, actually. I came across, when I was here a couple of months ago, just glancing through a budget report, and I thought something was interesting. 4 cases of copy paper cost $68.82. That actually sounds right. I run an office. That's wonderful. 2 cases of copy paper cost $78.63. So I just wanted you guys to kind of glance at that. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to kind of figure out how can 2 cases cost $78 and 4 cases cost $68 of paper. I have found in fine-tuning my budget around the house because of everything else, a lot of money goes out the door, and if you really totaled up the little things, the $5 here, $10 there, all that, it actually makes a huge impact. Even Scotch tape, which I don't know because I haven't checked on yet, 12 rolls of Scotch tape were $24.88. So if there's a way that you can have somebody fine-tune it or do a group buying power, I know with the social group I run, we're actually going in and doing group buying power. So if there's a way to have like paper, which I'm sure this town goes through a ton of, in one location, get group buying power on that, and then have the department sign out, you know, by the way, we need a case, boom, here it is. That may really cut the budget, the pens, pencils, things like that. As far as from the group, there's a real mixed review as far as where the library goes and all that. Do love the baseball field, but please just take a look at this one thing. Also, one other thing, there's an officer, which I brought up on more than one occasion, just one officer, by the way, that I heard talk very, very, very badly about the residents. So I asked when I had to call in a noise issue, I actually resolved the noise issue, and I called in and asked that officer not to come out to my street just because he doesn't like us. So I respectfully disagree on not getting me the tapes. I asked for copies of the tapes. It's my voice on the tapes. We don't agree on this issue, but I just kind of want it on record that I don't think it's really fair if a resident wants a copy of the tape when they call in and they're on it. And I've forwarded it to all of you guys, the correspondence, that it's not fair that I can't receive it. Apparently it's legally they can do that. And on a very high average, the officer that did come out was beyond wonderful. I went to show him out the door because I knew where the gate was, and instantly he went, no, ladies first. He didn't say ladies first, it was his mannerism. It was the respect, it was the mutual respect between us. So it is by far not all the officers, but when you have a bad seat, it ruins it for everybody else. Have a nice evening, but please take a look at the budget.
Bill?
Hi, my name is Bill Aubrey. I live at 86 Rittenhouse, and my family and I have been here close to almost 40 years. I have a partial list of some of the people who couldn't be here tonight, but wanted their names mentioned as being opposed to a library in Holbrook Farmer Park. I'll just run down this list. I've got a copy for each of you people. Of course, Malcolm Dudley and Jack Ringham are on the Transportation Committee, and that has they have a meeting, I think, tonight too. So they may be in later, but they're definitely on this list. Others who are opposed are John Ruggiero, Charlie Remarino, Marie Zahn, Rachel Croft, John and Rosemary Malbeck, Jan Simons, Jean Schaff, Malcolm, I got Malcolm, and Joan Solari, Phil Lively, the president of Lindenwood Homeowners Association, Jim Drake, Rosemary Sisson, Ellen Rose Goddard, Stuart Aubrey, last but not least. One of the questions, probably the most prominent question that's asked about a library in the park is, why do we have to have a library in the park? And that's frequently asked. I don't know how to answer that, and I doubt that very many people do. But no library in Holbrook Farmer Park, please.
Who's next?
I just don't want Denise.
Janet Simons, 26 Wilburn Avenue. My concern is for the park. I went to all the meetings for the library, the presentations, to put the library in the park, and heard how this really is going to be a community center with lots of different purposes for this library. This means lots of traffic. It means a real change for our park. It won't be the same. My husband was president of the Holbrook Park Foundation, was very involved with it. And I hate to see a large community center established in the park. It's going to make a big change. And when you stop to think where they plan to have it, right in the center of the park, it seems to me that a library should be a quiet, studious place. But it won't be, because it's going to have all kinds of rooms for the children to come in from the Little League practice or whatever. It's going to have meeting rooms, it's going to have all kinds of things. That's going to change the park significantly. And I'm concerned about that. I hope you will think carefully about where you're going to locate that library. I do believe that there is plenty of room where the library is to extend it, to add space if it is needed. It seems to me that that belongs right where it is in our town center. I appreciate the comments that were made by some of the others here. Jim Massey, I think his comments were excellent about taking your time to put it all together, not just going piecemeal. Thank you.
Do we have anybody else? Bill, do you want to
Jim, I
talk again?
think I had 30 seconds on my yellow light. Part of this list that I left out, 6 of the past presidents of the Holbrook Farmer Park Foundation, this is a 2-year term, are opposed to a library in the park. Bob Francis Keaty, Jim Massey, Dick Nippus, Rod Washburn, Etta Maybauer, and me.
And Bob Simons.
And Bob. Well,
Yeah, and Bob sounded from above.
From up above.
Anyone
From the sky.
Denise Kupperman, 74 Atherton Avenue. I'm here to report on behalf of the Atherton Tree Committee. We partnered with the University of Berkeley to do a test throughout Atherton to map where we might find sudden oak death, the virus, which shows up on bay trees. It is very difficult and expensive to test oak trees. It's usually when the symptoms are very apparent that we do that test. But by collecting leaves of the bay tree, they were collected by UC Berkeley and run through their testing, and we've done an extensive mapping exercise along with Brookside, Portola Valley, Los Altos, and other communities, along with Montalvo. They've lost a lot of trees there. The results of this exercise will be presented at the Los Altos Town Hall. We're partnering with that group on October 7th. It starts at 7 o'clock. On Sunday, October 9th, there will be a presentation in Los Altos. The exact location is yet to be determined, where they'll be presented ways to treat oak trees. And we welcome the community in joining both meetings. If you have any questions, please contact the tree committee. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Seeing none, I will close the public comment section. And we now go to the regular agenda, first piece of which, of course, as usual, is the consent calendar. City manager's report, John.
I have a question, a couple comments on the city manager's report after you give it.
No further comments. Any questions?
City manager, can I ask the Public Works Department, because I didn't see it in their update, any update on the Atherton Avenue Road repair project?
Sure, absolutely.
That just seems glaringly absent from the report.
We're getting closer, there's still time left if I can ask.
People keep asking me, what's going on?
Absolutely. Mike?
So what we can do is, that's a project from the water district, and so what we would do is get an update and send a memo out to the council with the information.
Oh, okay, I had asked Steve Tyler some time ago on that, and at that time it was, they had another 5 to 7 days or so to go, and then there was some testing they were going to do, open it up to one-way traffic, and then eventually the two-way. It's been a long project, it's taken an awful long time, it's very disruptive, it's not ours.
I said, I'm sure it's not ours, but they said, well, what is it, and when is it going to be done?
It's water. So, Mike, let's go ahead and get all of council a note back on what the schedule is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That'd be helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
John, you, I appreciate very much, you put in the park walkthrough notes, and I assume you'll be updating these over time. I've had a lot of comments lately from people who've gone through the park, and you know, with the dialing in of people calling in sick during the organizational realignment and the turmoil associated with that, several things in the park have gone unaddressed for a while, and that the park is actually starting to look a little shabby. As you know, you live there, you see that yourself, and it's going to take time to fix it. It would be appreciated if, I think for all the council members to address these questions, if we could get a guesstimate on when these things would be done, and then you could update that. So, you know, I'm asking that maybe, Mike, if you could go through this list and work with your team to give us due dates for the next meeting, and then we can track that, but then at least we can say, we're on track, we know what we're going to go do. Just leaving something blank leaves people to wonder when, if ever. So.
Sure, very good comment. We will provide dates and an update to council. Thank you.
Any other comments? Well, the next item is the consent calendar, and generally speaking, those items are routine in nature, but if anybody wishes to pool one out and discuss it, then either any member of the council or member of the public can do so. Do I have any items that,
I'd like to have item 16 pulled, please.
16?
I'd like to discuss item 11. And I have a couple of comments on some of the bills, but they're just comments, they're not necessarily being pulled. And for item 16, since I live on Glenwood Avenue, I cannot vote on that.
Okay.
So I'll leave for you.
Any
So-
other?
Well, I also wanted to comment on item number 11.
11.
And so we should probably just go ahead and pull that.
Okay. Any member of the public? Okay. I will then ask that we approve the items on the consent calendar with the exception of item 16 and item 11.
So,
All in favor? Okay. The next item I'm going to put on the calendar is this one that we just pulled off so that we can get this done. The reason that we want to reject all bids received in response to the invitation was that there was confusion over the bids, and after rejection of the bids, the project will be re-advertised with revision to the bid document. So if I can have a motion to reject all bids, that would take care of this item.
So moved.
All in favor?
Do we need any public comment on this, Council?
Sure.
I'm just asking
Procedurally.
I have no comments.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments? Okay, I think we'll go ahead with that. Thank you.
A second, vote.
Okay, well now let's go to,
You need to vote on that one.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. We now go to item number 11. And, Bill, you brought item 11 up.
Well, item 11 is about the noise, and I've read I guess the report, and my concern is, and my comments that I sent in to city manager, were that while there are noises for aircraft taking off, you know, we're on the other end. Sometimes the takeoffs come to the south, and also there's an increasingly number of early morning flights coming in around 4:30. Today's was at 4:56. Other days, you know, there's flights coming from the East Coast or from the Far East are coming in earlier and earlier, and they make a fair amount of noise as well. So I think that our comment should be, as far as for the findings for the activities up at the north and putting listening devices up there, I believe that we should be putting listening devices where all affected residents are, both coming and going. I think that there should be some discussion on the fine. I mean, finding number 3 is that we're allowed to, the county is allowed to fine. Yes, there've been a lot of violations of the airport staying open later or opening earlier than is supposed to happen, but we're not filing. We're not finding them. So I would think that we should also respond as opposed to agree with the finding that they're not finding, that we should recommend that they do. So in other cases, we've recommended things, and those are essentially my findings on the quiet noise, and as I said, I put those in writing to you, John, and I'm happy to expand on that if you so choose to discuss.
We've been through that many years ago. We went through this with the airport, and we did have listening devices. We did have telephone numbers to call. We did ask them to identify the pilots who were breaking the rules. We had great difficulty getting the airport to, you know, support the things we were doing. And I don't know if we're going to have any more luck this time or not, but part of the problem was that many of those early flights were international flights, And basically, international pilots, frankly, just didn't give a damn. And apart from forbidding them to land at the airport, you know, the airport authority didn't seem to have a remedy to do it. So, I mean, a long time ago, I got into that with a team that we had here. We tried our best to identify people who were breaking the rules, and we just couldn't seem to get the airport to support us, but I'm happy to do it again if we can.
Well, I think this gives us an opportunity to comment.
So, may I?
Go ahead.
So, with all due respect, Mayor,